Forward together.
Not one step back.
On April 29th, 2013, I was arrested during the first MONROE Monday because at the time, Tom Tillis and the North Carolina General Assembly were attacking the future of our generation.
Though we proclaim the scriptures that we all hold dear, the General Assembly did not listen. So we are back because it's now not just a matter of theory that people might be hurt.
That's right.
People are being hurt.
That's right.
We are back because it's no longer a theory that people will die if we don't expand Medicaid. People are dying. We are back because of their decision to take away money from our schools. Our children are suffering.
On a MONROE Monday, 60 years ago, the NAACP won its largest victory in the battle for full citizenship, Brown versus Board of Education. Brown can still help do what it was intended to do, make us all one country. But we have to be willing to fight for it, or school resegregation will damage our children and mortgage our future.
Last year we were debating paper and policies. Now we're back because their policies are hurting people and causing pain and problems in the lives of real people. We have come back.
We say today, though, that it's not too late to repent, repeal, and restore.
We come to stand for what is right.
Amen. We will not engage in civil disobedience today. Let me emphasize that, today. Today we will engage in direct action. Today we will dramatize what political tyranny looks like and what government would look like if an extremist like Tom Tillis had his way to set the rules in every state house around this country. Today we will have a love feast, bring that. Today we will remind us that all of us eat from one loaf. That God has made it so that we're all supposed to share. Today, and only today, we will enter the General Assembly and we will wear tape over our mouths to show the nation what extremism looks like and what, after people have engaged in political tragedy, what political tyranny looks like. We will put that tape over their mouth, not because we are complicit with their rules, but because we are defying their rules, and we want to show the whole world how crazy it is to try to shut down democracy and shut down the voice of the people. And then when we walk out of the other side of the building, we will in unity take that tape off and we will declare that that is the first and the last time we will ever be silent in the people's house. You will not silence our voice. This leadership of this super majority of extremists remain deaf to the cries of the needy. Was Jesus called the least of these. Governor McCoy, Tom Tillis, and other Tea Party-backed extremists, you know, they called us outsiders. Mercy. Same thing that George Wallace called them in 1964. That's right. They mocked us as morons. They reviled us as losers and whiners. That's what Tom Tillis said about people fighting for people to have unemployment, that we're just losers and whiners. But we've learned a long time ago, it's not what people call you, it's what we answer to. That's right. That's right. And we understand the reason they couldn't call us by our name MONROE Monday is because they are suffering from linguistic trauma. There's no way they can't find any words to defend or explain their legislative agenda. All they can do is call us names, but call us all you want. Every time you call, we're gonna come and come back again because we're here to stay.
No one chooses to be a burden. My husband's employer offered so-called affordable premiums, so we weren't eligible for subsidies through the ACA. Those affordable premiums and out-of-pocket costs for our family amounted to more than a week's paycheck. So my husband didn't go to the doctor when he didn't feel well for over a year. We are now fighting a stage 4 cancer. His radiation alone, not counting CT scans, bone scans, medications, surgeries, biopsies, etc., just radiation is estimated at $1,440,000. Multiply those numbers by the number of families who lost their coverage due to not expanding Medicaid.
We are in a state of emergency. A state of emergency for the people of North Carolina, for our patients, and we have to act now.
I keep hearing about givers and takers and the party of family and Christian values. I have to tell you, I'm not seeing that from our Republican leaders.
For those of us guided by deep commitment to our religious values, offering aid to those in need is not just a medical matter, it's not just a money matter, it's a moral matter.
We're not here as Republican and Democrat, but we're here as people of conscience with a deep commitment to seeing North Carolina go to higher ground. We're not asking people to be left. We're not asking people to be right. We're not asking people to be conservative. We're not asking people to be liberal. We're not asking people to be Democrat. We're not asking people to be Republican. We're asking people to be kind, to be just. We don't need to go either way. We need to go deeper in our souls and deeper in our humanity.
Without a strong public education system, most of our children will never have an opportunity in this great state. We cannot have a good public education system without strong teachers, both young and experienced.
Our protests have pushed our state's politicians to propose a well-deserved increase in teacher pay. Unfortunately, MONROE plans to fund that teacher pay raise by plundering $49 million from the UNC system and $122 million from Health and Human Services. This is an absolutely unacceptable solution. You can't rob students to pay teachers.
That North Carolina ranks 46th in education funding in the nation is economically insane. It just cannot be justified, and we're not going to stand for it.
From banning Planned Parenthood, from providing basic preventive health care to low-income women, to refusing to expand Medicaid, to last year's July 4th sneak attack on a woman's right to make deeply personal health decisions about her pregnancy, this legislature has shown time and again they care more about politics than women's lives.
Male and female created in God's image, that means each one of us is obligated together to manifest that image in the way that we live.
You know, the right to vote is a sacred right, and I, who represent two groups that was once denied that right, a woman and a member of the African American community, any assault against the right to vote is an assault against me, it's an assault against all women, and it's an assault against all of us.
That is the fraud of what is happening. We need to open up the process. They want money to control the elections. We need to make sure people control elections.
We're locked right now in the midst of a fierce class struggle, and we have seen the consequences of what happens when the greedy 1% are legally allowed to steal from the needy.
This is a story about a dirty, dirty addiction. Duke Energy is addicted to dirty, cheap coal. And who is there to intervene in this addiction? You and I and the truth. The truth that our friends and neighbors are suffering the consequence of Duke's dirty addiction.
The climate of intimidation being created by this right-wing led legislature seeks to break the will of the workers and the people in hopes of dividing us and weakening the determination, power, and collective thinking of a united struggle.
The crushing effect of the North Carolina legislature's actions on the poor is unconscionable.
The federal government had offered us the funds to extend unemployment benefits to all those in need, and yet the response from our legislature was, no thanks.
Today we call on the General Assembly to build an economy that works for everybody, that that raises wages and put people to work. Today we call on the legislator and this governor to stop bullying the poor, the children, and students.
We are here because it is wrong, fundamentally wrong, for extremists to use a temporary position to enact vicious policies, many of which they won't even see the results of.
That's right.
Some of the policies we are dealing with will have long-term impacts that we, the younger generation, will have to deal with. And we will not allow that to happen on our watch.
We are here to build our own power and to show solidarity across issues because we know that there's only one way for North Carolina to go, and that is forward together.
Take the tape off and make them hear you. Make them hear you. Make them hear you. Make them hear you. I can't go home. Because my Bible says when wrong is in the land, Isaiah 58, it says, cry loud and spare not. Raise your voice like a trumpet. So let me say on behalf of my MONROE Monday family, silence is not an option. Standing down is not an option. Going backwards is not an option. Silence is betrayal. We will not betray the poor. We will not betray the sick. We will not betray our teachers. We will not betray the LGBT community. We will not betray women. We will not betray the unfortunate. And we call on every North Carolinian who believes in the common good that this is the time for us to cry loud and spare not. Now is the time. Here is the place. We are the people, and we will be heard. And we will never, 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 never stay silent in the face of injustice.